Welcome to another Special Circumstances video review. Today we're going to take a quick look at a couple of 4Sevens lights. 4Sevens is a relatively new entry into the tactical flashlight market. They've been on the market for a couple of years. Started out as a retailer of flashlights from a couple of different companies, and after many customer requests, they decided to manufacture their own. So the lights that we're looking at today are going to be a couple from their new line. This is some new lights that use the Cree XML LED, one of the newest LEDs from Cree. These put out a phenomenal amount of light. These are not pushing the LED as hard as it can. This first one we're going to look at here is the Quark X Tactical. And this is a 2-cell CR123 light. And this is a forward clicky, so it has a momentary on function and a click through, which is fairly positive, as you can probably hear. A couple of things about it. I really do like these lights quite a lot. They remind me a lot about the Phoenix lights as far as their form factors and the design touches and so on. Really well made, good finish on them. Nice features. The pocket clip works fantastically. I'm really happy that I'm seeing more and more light manufacturers come out with far better pocket clips than they used to. Good knurling, not too sharp. The barrel has kind of 3 flats on it, and as you can see, they put the pocket clip right on top of one of the flats, which is kind of nice, so you're not rubbing knurling right against the edge of your pants every time you pull the light out of your pocket. Pocket clip is removable. Once you take the tail cap off, there's a ring here that you can unscrew and then pull off. You'll probably have to remove the O-ring here first. And while I have the tail cap off, you can also see something, a design feature that I really like. The threads are square cut. Now, what that means is that you'll tend to have not only a smoother thread in general, but it also lasts longer than a typical threading does. Very nice touch, and that's on both ends. Yeah, I can pull off the front here. You can see the inside. You can see the contacts here. Very nicely machined. I mean, the machining is impeccable on this. I really can't complain about it at all. Finish is hard anodized, type 3, as should be basically the standard these days. Etching on the logos is very nicely done, nice and crisp. LED could be centered a little bit better, but I don't see that it really detracts from the output of the light. And this particular light is really pretty impressive for something that small. This is about the size of the Surefire E2E, and it puts out 360 lumens for 1.7 hours. Now, as you saw before, even in daylight, this is enough to. The backwash is substantial. It also has multiple different modes, and it is programmable. Basically, the way you do it is that you would twist the front, twist it loose 4 times while it's on in rapid succession. Light starts flashing, and then you can, by pushing on the tail cap, you can switch through different modes, and it has 8 different modes. So you have 5 levels of light, going all the way from 0.3 lumen, which is what you'll often see referred to as a moon mode, all the way up to the full blast 360 lumen. And then it has 3 strobe settings. Your typical tactical strobe, which is a pretty annoying setting, which is what it should be, really. A beacon mode, and then an SOS mode. Right now I have it set up, and you actually access the modes by loosening the front, the head of the light. So you can go from on like this to, and I have it set up a strobe mode, which really messes with my camera. Or you can change modes while it's on or while it's off. Works out pretty nicely. I mean, you could have it set up with a low setting, which is what it does from the factory. It comes set with a moon mode, I believe it is, on the secondary setting, and that works out pretty nicely. Overall, really nice little lights. The only real sort of complaint I have, if you could call it that, the tail cap is supposed to be, this is Phoenix's idea, or sorry, 4Sevens, not Phoenix, idea of a tactical tail cap, and the actual button protrudes above the edge of the tail cap. And they say that's for rapid access. I would honestly prefer to have it more guarded. If it's properly designed, a guarded tail cap is not substantially going to impact the time it takes for you to activate the light. However, what it is going to do is protect you from accidental light discharges. And if you are using this in a tactical setting, well, that can be kind of important. So, kind of give or take, a lot of people like it. It does feel nice. I haven't accidentally turned it on yet. I can see it happening though. But you know, it's kind of a personal pet peeve more than anything else. You can also see the lanyard attachment points. There's a couple of different types here. One for a wider cord or strap, whatever you want to call it, and one for the typical little camera type attachment. Overall, a really nice light. These are probably going to retail right under $100. Very hard to beat for that cost. I mean, especially with the features and the output. 360 lumens is really no joke, no laughing matter. The output on it is very nice and even beam. It has a very wide beam, mostly because of the shallow reflector, with a nice big hotspot. I mean, you can really light up a room with this thing very easily. Really a nice little light. Apart from my little pet peeve with the tail cap, I really can't complain about it. This will, by the way, also work with a rechargeable 17670 battery, but the output does seem to be a little bit less than the 360. It does not work with an 18650. That's mostly because the battery barrel is quite snug, and there's not much slip there, and the light itself really does not rattle much at all. But you can use it, of course, with two rechargeable CR123s, and that would actually work just fine and give you the same amount of output as the standard lithium primary cells that I've got in there right now. Alright, so check it out, 4sevens.com. Let's move on to the second light. So this is then the 2 AA battery light. This is not tactical version. This is just a Quark X AA. Obviously, quite a bit longer. Makes sense. Longer batteries, of course. Reflector and light engine is largely the same. The output on this is somewhat less. This puts out about 280 lumens. But otherwise it's quite similar, except for the fact that it has, as far as machining quality and other features go. But the tail cap is different. This is a reverse clicky, which means you do have to click all the way through and let go before it'll come on. I'm not a big fan of that kind of switch. They do work, but I prefer the forward clicky. This one also has different modes, but they work a little differently courtesy of the tail cap. So you click it on, comes on in whatever setting you have it set for. You can program this, and you can click it again, or basically just sort of half press it, and it'll come on in the strobe. I would prefer the strobe to be more of a hidden setting myself. It's just not useful that often. I'd rather have it switch between 2 levels instead, but you know, that's kind of a personal pet peeve. Loosening the head and accessing the secondary mode. So right now, this is the moon mode, and as you can see, it's incredibly dim. This is 0.3 lumens again. And then you can half press it and switch levels. And this one right here is, I believe, the SOS mode. That's the beacon, and then it goes back down to the moon mode. That works fairly well. I don't mind the secondary mode at all, but I really don't care for the that right there. it seems kind of pointless. And if you, even if you click it on and off relatively fast, you have to wait a few seconds before it won't go on to the next mode. As you can see right there. So, not a big fan of that, but if that's not a problem for you, then hey, by all means, this is a good light. Exactly like the Quark X Tactical as far as build quality goes. Square cut threading, you know, really nice build quality throughout. Really can't complain about that at all. And again, this is going to retail for well under $100. 4Sevens is really sort of stepping up their ball game with these lights, and frankly, a lot of manufacturers are really going to have to sort of, well, step up to the pitch. Really, this is something they're putting out, a really great product for a very reasonable amount of money. I would have no problems trusting these just as well as I would trust the Surefire. Surefires are sturdierly built, if that's a word. More sturdy, I guess. And they're very overbuilt and they're great quality, but you also pay a small fortune for them. And they oftentimes do not have the same level of features as these smaller manufacturers do. So, I mean, even Surefire doesn't use square cut threading, so for the most part at least. So this is really something where they're stepping up. They're really stepping up the game in general. So I think a lot of manufacturers, Surefire included, are going to have to watch themselves against these smaller guys because they're really bringing something new and fresh to the table. So definitely check them out. Like I said, 4Sevens.com. They're well worth a look. Give them a shot, and take a look at the blog for some more up-close pictures and such that will be posted here shortly. All right, thanks for looking. Have a great day.